let's get to day 2 of women being banned from having equal pay. Is that right? That sounds right to me. Have I got that right? Have I got that straight? TVNZ tonight shared their perspective of a very fiery day in the House.
The government's controversial pay equity changes are set to pass into law within the next few hours, just a day after being announced. Unions are calling the legislation, which overhauls the law that helps narrow the gender pay gap, an attack on working women. And those who have been affected by fair pay claims being stopped in their tracks say they feel blindsided. Political editor Mikey Sherman has today's developments.
Are you all right? Well, if some people need a bit of steam out, leave the House. And
Parliament today full of fiery debate.
Is her message to Kiwi women whose work is undervalued that they should just suck it up and work harder to grow the economy?
My message to women who believe they're undervalued is this government does value women.
Labor livid.
This is about robbing Paula to pay Paul. When you start talking about pay equity, the first thing you must understand where women is concerned is what a woman is.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, do not tell me you're surprised, Chewie.
I'm not surprised. But, like, Winston, I understand he was there when women were invented. But still, what a piece of shit.
If you haven't seen it, though, credit where credit is due. A very good comeback by Chippy.
Understand where women is concerned is what a woman is.
Is his definition of a woman someone who's paid less than a man?
We deserve equal pay! The government.
That's good. That's a good comeback. Credit where that one's coming. And you know, if that was workshopped, well done. Good comeback.
The government ramming through legislation, making it harder for low-paid women to negotiate fair pay.
33 pay equity claims, they just used it like toilet paper and threw us down the drain.
These women have spent years in care jobs.
This is a slap on the face for us as care support workers. I had my colleagues crying.
Librarian Tessa Bowler had been working on a claim for the past 3 years.
It's such a huge piece of work, and it was where everyone was so committed, and then all of a sudden it's just gone. Everything we've done.
Hospice nurses were just weeks away from pay negotiations.
Weeks.
We care for some of the most vulnerable people in our country, people who are dying and their families, and to be honest, it's a real kick in the guts to them.
It's disgusting. We've seen a rewind back to prehistoric times.
I hope that people can see how cruel this government is.
Avoiding the scrutiny of Parliament, the Prime Minister opting for a tourism event in Rotorua.
I'm here at Trends because it's 7.5% of our global GDP, our GDP in this country.
So just confirming now, the only thing that matters is the dollar sign. I mean, it's got to be a part of the thing, but for Luxon, the only thing that matters is the dollar sign, nothing else.
Our GDP in this country.
You know what's an even bigger part of the economy than tourism? The 50% of our workforce that's made up of women.
The law saves the government billions.
It is not the case that this is required for the budget.
But its coalition partner ACT claims it saved the budget.
Billions of dollars are material to the government, so we can run around in circles, but these are the basic facts.
Facts that have a big impact.
So that's actually quite important. And again, I don't know if Rimmer is doing it on purpose, but the government, obviously, the national-led part of the government is trying to run away from this has got nothing to do with the budget. And Rimmer's going around going, ACT saved the budget. So, you know, one of you is lying. I know where I'll put my money. It never feels good to say I believe Rimmer, but in this instance, I think he is the one being truthful. They found millions of dollars to save the budget.
Just
Facts
as an
that
aside,
have a big impact.
Yes.
That's probably the most egregious example of Seymour talking like his jaw's not connected to the rest of his skull.
There's a whistle, eh?
Like it's just hanging loose.
Yeah. He's a snake. He's disconnected his lower jaw and he's about to swallow something whole. I don't know. Maybe he's got teeth straightener in or something. But yeah. But fair play.
Could do with his jaw wired shut.
That have a big impact on some. What's your message to the women in government, particularly the ministers?
They can kiss my fat ass, my darling. Some of our colleagues have to work 2 to 3 jobs because they can't feed their families.
Concern many families may be worse off as a result of this government move. Mikey Sherman, One News.
So lots to talk about. There's more clips and stuff I'm going to play, including one that has been going around the internet today, a 10-minute version of it, which we're not going to do. I thought there's also quite an important conversation to be had, Chewie. We are probably the wrong people to lead this conversation, but I've been talking with friends and family and stuff today about what this all means, this gender pay gap. And I think it's important for us to remember it's twofold. It's getting paid equally for the same job, but then there's another part of this conversation, which is the jobs that women often have a larger role in, more women are in it, are also the lower paid jobs in society. And as I said to a friend today, why do we consider a hospice worker, hospice caregiver, literally holding our dying elderly people by the hand as they shuffle off this mortal coil? Why do we consider that less important than, say, a truck driver? Now, I'm not comparing what they do, but I am wanting us to make sure we're aware, in case someone's not, that there's two layers to this conversation. Why are the low-paid jobs in society normally populated by women? Why do we, as a society, not value those low-paid jobs when some of them should be, on some levels, the most important job in the world? I'm sure to the family of that person dying in hospice, those people are the most important people in the world. I know when my dad passed away, nurses at Auckland Hospital were the most, they when we went back to thank them, they cried after they realised he had passed away. The most important people in our lives in those moments. And that means they're going to be the most important people in everyone's lives one day, whether they're quit caring for you or for someone you love. Yet we go, and I am being a bit silly here, but rugby players, far more important than nurses. You know, it's like, I'm not comparing a nurse qualification to a rugby player qualification, but I am comparing how we in society value the nurse versus the rugby player. That's another part of this conversation, Chewie.
Yeah. That's something that drives me fucking batty. My personal worth to society, very low. I sell iPhones at Samsungs to people. I get paid pretty much the median wage. Sometimes I do pretty good. Someone that has gone to university and got their master's in therapy or counselling, trying to pull people out of the deepest, darkest, blackest holes in their lives, is paid less than me. Often. You know, people, as you said, hospice workers, people that work in rest homes, early childhood, teaching, all of these sort of things. And the only thing that I can think of is that the product that they are bringing to market is less tangible. You can't hold it in your hand. It's traditionally women's work. It's not making anything to be sold. So low value.
Says, dying people aren't productive, Pat, so they mean nothing to Luxon. But I will say one thing, not as a defence of Luxon, but as an accusation of other political parties. This is not a national government issue. This is a societal issue. This legislation started in 1972. Come on. I know we can talk about jet fuel and what these guys are doing, which is making it worse, but this is not a 2025 problem. I will just at least say that. Now, someone's got a solution. Angela emailed us today. Angela emailed us on behalf of the women of Aotearoa, and Angela has an invoice. I'm going to maximize that she wants to get passed on. So here's an invoice from Angela and from the women of Aotearoa. The bill has been made out to Brooke Van Velden, the Minister of Internal Affairs and Associate Minister for Workplace Relations and Safety Parliament Buildings, Wellington, New Zealand, Brooke Van Velden, yada yada. Overpayment per annum of ministerial salary based on public service gender pay gap of 6.1% as of June 30th, 2024, from date of appointment 27 November 2023. Per annum, she owes $18,866 to be paid back. Overpayment per month, $1,500. So Angela thinks that we should go and get our $26,000 back off Brooke Van Velden because, it's retrospective. It all goes back. I thought that was very clever, so I wanted to share it with us all. Invoice for Brooke Van Velden from the woman of Aotearoa. Something else we're going to look at now. I know some people have seen this. Chewie, you sent me this link as well. I've cut a few things out of this, so it's not the full 10 minutes. Here are some National Party women who, I believe this is 2020. It could be 2018, one of the two, who, remember the Pay Equity Bill Act was supported unanimously by everybody. Feels a little bit like how all of these parties that supported all the moves to keep people safe in COVID were then the same ones that were going, oh, hang on, lick my lip, lick my tongue, feel, the wind's changing, then all of a sudden they change their position. Even this feels more nefarious than that because they're only doing it for the money. They're only doing it under urgency because all decisions need to be made by Friday for the budget. It's the only reason. I'm sorry, you will never convince me otherwise unless you show me empirical evidence otherwise, and they won't. So here's some national women in 2018, 2020 talking about the amazing thing that they're going to support, which is the Gender Pay Act, the Equality Pay Act. Should probably turn that
no
on
audio there.
After my big build-up.
This legislation is hopefully a major game changer for the thousands of women in particular out there that are not earning what they should, equal pay for equal work, and that is what this legislation is about.
The dreams I have for my daughter and my grandchildren one day, when I have them hopefully, is that they will grow up in a country where the work that they do is equally valued and compensated equally to that of their male counterparts.
Well, sucks to be them.
And this bill sets out the framework that we will achieve that outcome.
I'm proud to stand in this House tonight and say that National will support this final reading of the Equal Pay Amendment Bill. And I'm proud that our party has contributed to crafting this legislation and bringing it to the House.
But I think it is important that we do look through the lens of history here. This is about justice and access to justice. And it actually is okay in a year when we're celebrating 125 years of women winning the right to vote, being the first country in the world, that we actually say we need to do a lot more.
I want to acknowledge tonight the Minister, Magenta, who has done an exceptional job. She did an exceptional job earlier answering our questions and done a great job shepherding this bill through the House, and I commend her for that. She's been outstanding.
I do want to say, though, this legislation of this type, and as I say, this is the third attempt at it, is a step towards achieving pay equity, and that is a significant contribution to reducing even further the gender pay gap. And this has been a focus of the previous government as well as the current government. That is an area we absolutely agree on.
Now, Chewie, there's been some conversations going on in the last 24 hours about how, a librarian was comparing their salaries to an economist or whatever they were. But this is twofold, like we said earlier. There is the comparing women's salary to men's salary doing the same job, and there's the societal issue of women being paid less and are populating those jobs that are more lower paid. And do you know who knew about that or who knows about that? The current Minister of Finance, because this is what she said about that exact thing.
We support the simple concept that people should be paid the same for the same work regardless of their gender.
True.
And we support the equally important concept that if someone has been doing work and there are reasonable grounds to believe that that work has been undervalued or historically undervalued based on the agenda and has been underpaid because of that, then they should be able to make a pay equity claim.
Historically undervalued based on the agenda. That's not comparing job to job. That's comparing society to historic inconsistencies with how we value jobs. She knew it, she said it, and now they want the cash back. It's as simple as that. Chewie, I've got one more thing I want to say about that last video, but do you have anything first you want to get in there?
Yeah, I'd just like to really support the very sage words that Comrade Nicola Willis had to say there. I would like to see her fist fight her future self in the parliamentary food court. I was going to say forecourt, but then I thought, no, food fight would be better.
It would be better. I want to say one other thing, and this is a bit more judgy, not about the topic. This is 2020, I think. Pretty sure this is 2020. Do you notice where they're sitting? Erica
Right
Stanford.
at the back.
What do they call those people?
Backbenchers.
So, no power, no position, could say whatever they wanted. Backbenchers. 4 years later, populating the front bench of a government. Very, very, very different perspectives. Just thought that was an interesting little side note. Backbenchers do whatever they want, say whatever they want. All of a sudden, government front benches, oh, no, never happened. No, there's lots of problems with this legislation that we supported unanimously a mere 3 to 5 years ago.
I like all of these comments that seem to be like it's unwieldy. It's not transparent enough. The transparency comments especially are pretty galling considering that they rammed this through under urgency. So there was no chance for the public to see what an unwieldy piece of legislation this worked, how hard it was to implement, all of this sort of stuff. We don't get to see that because they put this through under urgency. We could have had 6 months to have a look at it. 6 months that we got to deal with the treaty principles bill, by the way, that gets the full whack. Because it has a different, like the treaties principle bill had a completely different objective. That was never going to pass. So then it had to be dragged out for 6 months to put its poison out there. This they want to do and they don't want us to know whether it's a good piece of legislation or not, or if it's unwieldy. They don't want us to see it. So that makes it very different as well. Like it's what they did and it's how they did it that is really fucking pissing me off.